Welcome, Pia and Danilo. I am just blown away by reading about you both. But I just want to say, Pia, wow, entrepreneur, sustainability expert, founder, speaker, and you graduated with your master's from KAUST in 2012. And then we have Danilo, an entrepreneur, founder as well. And I call you, Danilo, a guru of big data and artificial intelligence. And you also, I mean, you're both gurus. You both graduated with your masters in 2012. So you know, even though with the preliminary questions I sent you, the one that wasn't on that list was the one I really want to start with. Did you meet at KAUST?
No, yeah, because of KAUST. The first time we met was in Mexico at a KAUST event, and we get to know each other better at KAUST and decided to stay together after we finished KAUST. And well, here we are about 10 years later.
Yeah.
Do your own elevator pitch that helps set the scene for those who'll be watching about who you are and where you're actually calling in from today. And Pia, I'll start with you.
All right. Well, I'm Pia Wiche. I'm Chilean. We are currently in Chile. And I'm a sustainability expert. And what I do every day and what I love doing is helping companies and organizations and people become more sustainable so that we can all move faster into this sustainable economy that we need to make the planet and all of us survive and thrive.
Danilo, what about you?
Originally from Brazil, and that's why it's interesting that we met because of KAUST and at Saudi Arabia. And my background is in physics. However, I shifted my career to data analysis, working for a United States American bank. And while doing this, I gather a lot of analytical skills that now I use to help Pia communicate sustainability better and really to narrow the data to have the right decisions about doing what's correct for the economy, for environment, and for the people.
Danilo, can I start with you to talk about your undergraduate program? You studied in Brazil, then you went to Europe. Can you talk a little bit about your academic journey?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I studied in Brazil physics at University of São Paulo, and there very early I started with research using optics to understand adulterations of fields, because in Brazil that's very common. So I had to use optics techniques and statistical techniques to identify if a fuel was really what is being said, a diesel or gasoline, or it had something else in it. And when I saw the KAUST opportunity, I was very interested at what KAUST offered about renewable energy at the campus. And then during my last year, I shifted doing research in organic photovoltaics. And then I did a little bit of characterization, creating some photovoltaics. And then later at Nottingham University, I went and then took that semester for leveling up my understanding of energy, of advanced mathematics for solving complex equations. And so this gave me a very well-rounded background to be able to succeed at KAUST and then ultimately do my work there in first principle analysis for transparent electronics.
Great. And Pia, what about you, your academic journey before you came to KAUST?
Well, it was pretty exciting. I was always a hyperkinetic student. I was doing a lot of things all the time. And one of the things that I had most fun with in university was doing the analysis of a biological pool, so a biological circuit for cleaning water. So I'm a biochemical engineer, so we processes to clean water, air, and others. And that was pretty exciting because this was a natural system that was working just like a river, but it was synthetic. Someone had built it. And that was one of the coolest things that I did in university, plus producing foods and stuff. And then when I was finishing my program as an undergrad, I discovered the passion of my life. And that was really love at first sight. My professor calls me up and he says, well, I have a project for you for your final project, and it's the life cycle assessment of lignocellulosic ethanol, second generation lignocellulosic ethanol. And I said, okay, I understand each of these words separately, but what do they mean together? And he said, I'm at the same point, you're gonna have to find out. And so I started in this field of life cycle assessment, which I totally fell in love with. And that was it was so much love that my professor saw a potential in me going through with this. And I went over to Belgium to study with one of probably the best professors in the world in life cycle assessment. He taught me a lot. And I got so good at it that the next year I was already lecturing about it and presenting in conferences. And it was just, two things that should go together. I can't explain it otherwise.
I've been doing ever since.
And I have been doing it ever since. I even did it at KAUST. I did the analysis of our city, of the KAUST city, regarding the carbon and the water footprints, and seeing how this worked. So I've been doing sustainability like my entire life.
Do you think that educating people and being able to have the confidence to stand up so early in your career, if you will, and doing that is a result of your passion for singing?
Oh my God, and that should have helped. I gotta admit, I like the stage, huh?
Improvisation mostly.
Improvisation mostly. Most people don't know it, but my favorite style of singing is jazz. I'm really good at improvising. I used to have a jazz quintet called the Pia Quintet before I left over to KAUST. So yeah, that surely helped.
And, my research tells me that you were in a band here at KAUST, and I wasn't sure if it was the name of the band or how much you got paid to sing, but 30,000 USD. So I'm not sure if that was your fee for performing at KAUST or if that was the name of the band.
I think if we got together all of our scholarships, we could have made $30,000. Yeah, that was the name of the band, $30,000. Yeah. And
was it a jazz band?
No, it was, we did covers of rock, pop music. And one of the things that I most enjoyed about $30,000 is that, well, back then we were the KAUST band. We got invited to all the gigs. Of course, we played for free. Actually, our last gig, we got paid. and the coolest part was that I got to sing in a bunch of different languages because we performed at all of the country nights. So we did the British night, the French night, Italian, the Latin night. So I got to perform in all of these languages that I don't speak. French and Italian, those are out. And that was fun. That was so much fun. You seem to have had very rich lives living at KAUST. Can you talk a little bit about
your academic experience at KAUST?
The academic experience, I was at KAUST, as I mentioned, I went eager to study renewable energy, and I was preparing to do that. But when I was at KAUST, I encountered the Professor Udo, who was specialist in density functional theory, which is a cool way of saying physical modeling. So basically you put all the basic physical equations in a computer and let the computer do the equations. So you can sort of understand what's the physics that's going behind. So with that, you can do computer simulation experiments to understand what's happening with the materials. And doing that, and then I fell in love. This is really what I wanted. And we found a cool project that was associated with experiments to try to explain how we could do transparent electronics, and basically doing a completely transparent cell phone or computer, so we can put your window or mirror or whatnot. So the abilities that I gathered there were, well, first of course, the scientific inquisition, the method to be able to make a question and try to answer it, to try to develop experiments to answer that question as best as I can. And then also the analytical part in doing I'm doing these experiments. What do they mean? What do the data tell me? And then that really I think was very differential for me to be able to do what I do today, which is data analysis at core. So this is what I was doing at KAUST without knowing. It's just applying to physics, and now I'm applying. Well, then I applied to finance, and now I'm applying to sustainability. But at the core is the scientific method and the analysis behind it.
In thinking about you leaving KAUST and embarking on your career, Toastmasters, it seems, Pia, that when you both graduated, you established your company, and EcoEd. Am I right? Did you left KAUST and you founded your company EcoEd pretty much after you graduated?
EcoEd is rather recent. We started it in 2017. And,
okay.
But it's a spin-off from my previous consulting career, which started a little bit after we left KAUST. So just after we left, I became a life cycle assessment practitioner in a lab. And short after that, I started a consulting career in this area. And we started noticing, we talk a lot about our careers and the wonderful things that Danilo is a genius. I could be talking for hours about him. But the question is about me. So we started noticing a pattern, and that was that businesses wanted to do the right thing, but when they decided what to spend their money in, they got it completely wrong. They were off by a lot. And so we started thinking, how do we help businesses in a scalable way to get it right, to make the decision based not on what is cheapest or coolest, but on what will have the biggest impact. And that's when EcoEd was founded. And that's what we have been doing ever since.
Were you part of that emergence of KAUST's ecosystem in innovation and entrepreneurship that kind of led you to where you are now, or is it something that you evolved or that evolved along the way?
We actually kind of started that, huh? We found that we had a friend, another alumni called Guy Gongang, and Guy one day comes over to me, and he's a wonderful man. God, he's sweet and he's creative, but he's not as comfortable in the spotlight as I usually. So he comes over to me one night and he says, Pia, you know what? I have this idea about getting people together to brainstorm, to solve issues, to solve big problems. But I don't know how to do it. Could you do this for me? And that's how we started. We had two, actually. That's how I started the flagship project, I think.
The brainstorming for the flagship project?
For the flagship project, and that's where we came up with a flagship project for KAUST. That was our goal, to have like this project that KAUST would be famous for, a little bit like the solar plane for Lausanne.
And basically what we did was brainstorming sessions, getting a bunch of very intelligent students in a room and say, hey, we have a problem, and write water in the board, and then what can you think about the water? What are the problems? What are the solutions? And then we started brainstorming and seeing what came out. And after several sessions, we came out, hey, how can we put this together and put it to a project that we can actually deliver and will be really cool. And that's the flagship project.
Yeah, we actually had two of these instances. We had the flagship project, that was one group, and we also had another one called Mind the Gap. And Mind the Gap was dedicated to solving global issues like water, hunger, and things of the sort. We had one different issue every session. And we even had the provost come to one of our sessions. He stayed for a long time. He left just because his family was waiting for him. But it was lots of fun. It was very creative work, and that work helped us move on afterwards. I taught entrepreneurship for a couple of years, and that really helped. And I definitely supported our careers as entrepreneurs.
And there were many other opportunities at KAUST.
Yeah.
So I can think Pia doing a Cornell entrepreneurship course during the winter enrichment program. That was fantastic, very intensive, but well, she can speak for herself, but she learned a lot.
And by the end of it, we had an amazing idea. Our group came up with the idea of using solar panels for agriculture in Saudi Arabia. And we were going to apply for the seed fund, which was just starting back then. But the seed fund that year got delayed. So we couldn't. Everyone got graduated and we left. But a year later, I found out that Saudi Aramco had taken over the idea and that they implemented solar panels in Saudi Arabia in agriculture to pump water out of the ground. And I got this from an official of Saudi Aramco. So, so it was pretty exciting to see that our group of 7 people, after an experience of perhaps 2.5 weeks, very intense, 18 hours a day, 2.5 weeks, came up with this idea that ultimately started the solar change in Saudi Arabia. That was impressive. That's one of the biggest things that I've done in my life, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about things now. You're in Chile, you're running EcoEd. Do you work from a home office ordinarily anyway?
We weren't very much affected by working from home because we were already doing that prior. Now is much less travel because a lot of our clients are in Santiago, and now we had to take the hour-and-a-half long travel to there to meet them, but now they are very happy in meeting through video conferences. So it's best for us, more time for us. Our projects have to shift a little bit, so we have a lot of event-related projects, and so going to people, doing workshops about sustainability all over Chile, for example, but these got, of course, canceled, and now, well, we have to adapt.
Yeah.
So,
well, one of the exciting things that we're working on right now is a test. It's like an auto consulting. Mm-hmm. We have an online tool that companies can use to self-evaluate their level of sustainability, and by the end of the tool will provide them with advice to expand what they're doing already. So this is You can do it in a very short amount of time. You get advice that is actionable, so you can actually start doing things right away. And we are orienting this for the companies that are really just starting and they need something to base everything on. We're using our spare time to create more tools and more help to continue pushing the economy in the right direction.
You were talking about shifting the way you're doing business and the way you're interacting with clients. But what about prospective clients? Are they now seeing the world and what you offer as a company, as the company's consultants? Do they see it differently? Will you be in more demand is what I think I'm trying to say, badly.
We certainly hope for that. And we work at 3 different levels. We work at the international level, coordinating countries. We work at the country and city level, and we also work at the company level. So all these 3 levels are having different reactions to sustainability right now. We see at the country level, let's look, for example, India. India was very focused on putting more coal-based electricity all over the country. And with this crisis, they have realized that being dependent on coal is actually not a very geopolitically safe idea. So they're turning very rapidly over to solar power. This is the kind of transformation we're seeing from countries. So very, very high level. At the level of cities, everything is very much focused right now on dealing with the emergency. But because COVID-19 is also increased by pollution in the air, this has given environmentalists the perfect argument to say we need to clean the air. We need more solar panels, more wind energy, and we need less chimneys working. So it's also moving in that direction. At the level of companies, right now, people are still just answering to the emergency. So a lot of people are getting laid off. It's a very painful moment for companies right now. So they're not focusing on big projects, but they have people within their teams that have the responsibility of doing something about sustainability. And these people are looking for ways to project their actions onto the next year. So they're kind of reordering everything they were doing, trying to go for the small, quick wins at the beginning, and then putting it so that they will have the basis to justify this over with the boards or the C-levels, so that they can continue pursuing this after the emergency has passed. So we're seeing these 3 different movements, but in general, my opinion is that this virus has been a blessing for the environment. It stopped the world, which is exactly what we needed. And it has allowed us the time to get off that hamster wheel we were running on and really analyze again everything and put the priorities where they should be. We do have to be careful though, because just as we see 3 different levels of customers, there's at least 2 different levels in the environment. We have the biological systems, which are very quick, just like me, right? Hyperkinetic, lots of energy, they recover quickly. And we also have the geological set level, which is the icebergs, the poles, the atmosphere, and that is physical stuff. So let's leave that with the physicists. Calm, long-term, a little bit of a slower change. So right now we're seeing a lot of recovery in the biological systems, fish, dolphins, whales, whatnot. But the climate, which is it's the biggest crisis that we're dealing with right now, that one is going to take a lot longer to recover. And we have not even scratched the surface. Thank you for that. So we need to keep working. We cannot just think that everything is solved and go back to business as usual. We need to use these weeks and months to make the permanent change that we will need to survive in a climate challenged planet. So that's something that we need to work on.
Yeah, a great metaphor I heard was we are in a bathtub talking about carbon, and then the bathtub has a limit. And what we had is the faucet all the way, water flowing through. And now what we did was just turn off the faucet a little, so there's little water coming through. But if we come back from COVID-19 and then we go back to business as usual, and then we are just opening the faucet and we will flow over very quickly again. So what we have to do is really find a way to keep that carbon flow down and to remove it from the atmosphere while we do it. So we avoid this overflow and the 2 degrees increase and all the consequences that come from it.
When you're not working, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, we have a shared passion that started at KAUST, and it is Toastmasters. So we started Toastmasters right at the beginning when we joined KAUST. I brought her. I'm the one to blame. And when we moved to Viña del Mar, there wasn't a Toastmasters club. So what we had to do is to found one. So along with Pia's friend, we got together a bunch of cool people and we found this Toastmaster club. Now we are 6 years strong. We are growing, very happy. And for those who doesn't know, Toastmasters is a club on public speaking and leadership. So we basically get together to do public speaking and to speak to each other and to give feedback on how well we are doing. And the way it is done is that we support each other into growing and be both better speakers and better leaders. And that's a deep passion that we both share.
How do you find working together?
We managed to separate very well work from our personal lives. So we have a dedicated space for work. And when we're working, we are working. And even when we are in meetings, virtual or live, people don't realize we are a couple. So
a lot of our clients don't know that we're a couple.
Don't know we are a couple. And I take that as a compliment on how professional we are dealing with this, and then we already have ways to manage our both work relationship and personal relationship. She's always writing both, and then
yes. I often have the opportunity of speaking to students who are thinking about coming to KAUST. You know, kids who might be anywhere in the world, but have a level of uncertainty about coming to grad school in Saudi Arabia. Can you both give separate answers as if you were talking to a prospective student about coming to KAUST, why they should take that risk, why they should do it?
Because it's a risk with only upside gains and no downside. It's a unique opportunity to be part of an incredible community. The opportunities of learning there about both technical skills and social, personal skills, how different views of the world from different people, many different opportunities. We touched a few on Toastmasters, on entrepreneurship, and there are many others on some singing, and there are many others to do at KAUST. And this is I feel very grateful to be part of such an amazing community. I look back to the KAUST years very dearly. It's unthinkable how much I learned and how much I gained through this experience, and forfeiting that for any reason, it's whatsoever, is just crazy. I cannot see any reason why not to go to KAUST.
Yeah. Just to add to that, to all of the single women out there who are fearing going to Saudi Arabia, I was single, a woman, but not just that. I was a student leader and I was a lead singer in a band in Saudi Arabia. From the university president to my classmates, and to the people who even cleaned. I mean, everyone, the people from operations support, everyone was always very kind to me. They were amazing. The energy is great. And scientists usually say that at KAUST they can do in 1 year what they would do it in 10 years outside of KAUST. But as a human being, I grew in a couple of years what I would have learned in 20 years of a life outside of KAUST. The people are so exciting. It's basically you're going into a community where the best and the brightest have been selected to share for an amount of time, and you will never get that anywhere else in the world. So go and live the experience. You don't want to miss out on this one.